Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? I don't believe a notification went out to anyone, so I'm sorry about that. People are probably going to find this now that we went live. But yes, how are you all? I was doing some research for today's show, and I was like, wow, another event over this last few days. And then just as I was about to go live, there was another one in Kentucky. It has been a wild couple of days in America. I'm not sure what's going on, whether it's people getting loose in the summer. I don't know, but there was a bunch of shots rang out at this, what is this? It was 5 people were shot, 1 fatally when gunfire erupted in a packed Kentucky downtown bar district Saturday evening, sending terrified revelers running for cover in the 4th shooting in just over 24 hours in the USA. They're saying footage that had been posted, uh, all 13 shots were heard in footage posted online. We'll play that in a minute. How are you guys? How are you doing? How is everyone? The heat, it might be the heat. That's what we'll blame it on, the heat. That's what we'll do. How are you all? Having a great Saturday night out there? It is Sunday afternoon here in Melbourne, Australia right now. I wish I had some local cases tonight to talk about, but it's been a bit of a quiet weekend for once, although I have a couple of updates for Australian stories or cases or court process that I can tell you about. I do not have an update about the missing young woman in New South Wales. No update as we entered into the fourth day. She has been missing for a number of days. And so far, there has been no positive outcome for missing Lily in New South Wales. No updates so far. I'll check, but I don't believe so. I am not, yeah, I don't see any updates, unfortunately, which is very sad for this young woman to be missing. So she went missing during the week after going on a hike. And so far, the authorities are saying they believe it to be a hiking mishap. So they're not saying there's anything untoward. She's only 18 years old. Her name is Lily Hooper, and she left her home in Oakdale on Wednesday morning around 8 a.m. and went out for this hike in the Nadi National Park. And so far, no sign of her. They found her car at the trailhead, but other than that, they've not been able to locate anything, like no clothing, no signs that help or anything like that. So far, nothing, which is it's sad. I really wish there was a better update for her. I'm going to take you out to a little update from last night for it, and then we'll get into the other stories.
Hiker from Sydney's southwest are growing tonight after a 4th day of searching rugged and rough terrain in the Southern Highlands delivered no trace of the teen.
But police believe 18-year-old Lily Hooper could still be found alive, her anxious family refusing to leave the search zone.
In the sky, and with every step, searchers hold out hope. Lily Hooper, a fit, strong 18-year-old Muay Thai fighter, experienced bushwalker from Sydney's southwest, missing in the Natai National Park. Lily left home on Burragurong Road, Oakdale on Wednesday, parking her car on Wanganderri Road and started hiking. She made it to the summit of the Bottom Pick walking trail, sent a message to her partner and family, and has not been heard from since.
They're obviously very, very distraught, and we're doing everything we can to support them in this challenging time.
Her jiu-jitsu gym saying if anyone can survive a hiking accident, it's Lily. She is one tough girl. She was supposed to be at training on Wednesday night. Her aunt, Sheridan Munro, saying, "My beautiful niece went on a hike in the Southern Highlands and hasn't returned. We are desperately trying to find her." But that search is proving difficult. Police rescue today abseiling down valleys as the trail throws up some challenges.
There's numerous side trails that run off it. The terrain out there is extremely rugged, very large escarpments, gorges, thick vegetation, creeks.
According to the bushwalking site alltrails.com, it's labelled a strenuous trail, recommended for experienced bushwalkers requiring significant self-reliance. Navigation skills and a GPS are essential as the path frequently disappears. It's understood Lily did not have a location tracking device with her. Putting further strain on the family, an incorrect news report had been posted last night saying that Lily had been found alive. Her case had been confused with an unrelated injured bushwalker who had been found nearby. Police are now asking the public to not speculate on the search.
We are very hopeful that Lily is still alive.
All right,
So I'll leave it there. That's the last bit of news that I've got on it. And the today on Sunday, I haven't seen any new updates for it. I really wish there was. We're talking from Wednesday, now we're Sunday, down here Sunday afternoon, and nothing. No updates at all, at least publicly. Now, it has been quite cold in the southeast portion of the country over the last 5 days. Overnight temperatures have plummeted to 3 to 4 degrees out there, dropping as low as -3 with wind chill. So it is quite cold out there. The last description that I had was that she was wearing a t-shirt and shorts, and there was no confirmation of whether she had a jacket or any wet weather, supplies or anything like that. But as you heard in that news report, she did not have a GPS device with her, which makes tracking her very, very difficult. Anyone who heads out into the bush in Australia, you have to have a GPS device, especially if you're heading into some of these trails that are very difficult. Um, so many people get lost every year here. We have families from tourists or even locals, like in this case, where their loved ones have either never come home or never been found. There are multiple cases I could tell you about where people have just never been located. They've just not been able to track them down, can't find them. And we're hoping in this one it's going to be different. That Lily has maybe had an accident, but it's been able to find some shelter and maybe bunkering down, hopefully, hoping for the search teams to find her. So hopefully that's what's going to happen. Um, Gail said if she was an experienced walker, she surely would have had snacks, water, waterproof jacket, etc. Hopefully. I suspect the fact that she was due to go back to her kickboxing training in the evening tells me that it was only supposed to be a day trip and then she was going to come home that evening. So maybe you hope she did, but maybe she thought she'd only be out there in the daylight hours. So terrible. No updates so far. I really wish I had more updates, but I do not. Hey, Andrew. Clock it. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the jewels. It's very kind. Okay. I'll get to another story out of Australia just briefly before we head to the US. New South Wales police have issued a plea to the public in helping or they had. There was a father who was found dead in a Sydney creek in the last day or so. New South Wales had issued a plea for help in locating Hemi Stewart, 44, on Thursday after he was reported missing. And they're saying during a search of bushland near Toryburn Reserve in Baulkham Hills on Friday, officers discovered his body face down in a creek. and he has now been located. So a different person they were trying to find. Unfortunately, a sad ending to that one. Now, Mr. Stewart's family, who are based in Australia and New Zealand, told Nine News today they strongly suspect foul play might have been a factor in his death. The fact he was found face down in a waterway is very concerning, very, very concerning. And I can show you what it looks like, not the body, but the area. There you go. You guys can see the tent that they've put up and some of the police over here. It sounds like maybe someone would have wanted to hurt him. Hopefully they can figure out who he might have been uh, in conflict with, whether someone had conflict with him. We're gonna have to wait and see. Mr. Stewart did have a past, including serving time in jail, and was involved in either, I can't tell if he was involved or had a home invasion last month. Let me have a look. Maybe he was involved in it. Let me have a look. It doesn't really tell me, but there's some involvement with a break and enter or a home invasion last month. They're saying they're not sure if it's relevant to his passing, but could be. So that is what they are investigating, whether any of this criminal activity may have been related to why he wound up face down in a creek. We're gonna have to wait and see what the New South Wales police have to say about that. Pretty awful ending though. No one deserves to be found face down in a creek. I think that's pretty awful. Let me just see if I can get you an update from 9 in New South Wales briefly. Yeah, I'm going to take you out there. Give me a sec.
A strike force set up and homicide detectives called in. Tonight we can reveal new details around the discovery of a father's body in a creek at Borkham Hills. The victim's family speaking to 9 News, describing him as a loving father who was trying to get his life back on track.
Success demands 6 things. Number 1, hard work.
Those who knew him closely say he was a happy-go-lucky guy.
Discipline. Motivation gets you going.
Whose life recently took a turn south. 44-year-old Hemi Stewart tonight leaves behind his son and grieving family spread across Australia and New Zealand.
This is a horrible feeling. Nobody will understand, losing a loved one so young.
The father's body found by officers face down in the water at a Borkham Hills reserve yesterday morning. Police called to the area after a member of the public spotted clothing in a creek.
He's only 44 years of age and it is what it is, but it's just not nice. Not nice at all.
Hemi's aunt, Wikitoria Roberts, speaking to 9 News today through immense anguish to pay tribute to her bright and cheeky nephew.
You were supposed to come and see me, you monkey. You didn't get there. I love you, boy.
They are devastated, absolutely devastated at the death of their loved one.
The father went missing back on August 2, last seen at 6 a.m. on Stoke Street in Schofields. The appeal taken public by police just 2 days ago. His photo shared online by authorities, a tip leading them to the tragic discovery at Tory Burn Reserve yesterday. Police probing Stewart's links to a home invasion at Sarah Crescent that happened a day after his disappearance, in which a family was threatened with a stun gun.
Of course, a line of inquiry, absolutely.
3 children aged 7, 12 and 13, along with their mother, were inside. Today they broke their silence.
They took down the window and they came inside. We tried to tell them to please stop, but then they told us to go back inside, otherwise they'd tase us.
Given his criminal history, Hemi Stewart's family has tonight told 9 News they strongly suspect foul play was a factor in his death. The homicide squad now called in to assist local police.
I'm unable to say exactly how the man has died, but obviously we are looking at all avenues of his death and we will be investigating thoroughly.
Bailey Kenzie, 9 News.
So I actually grew up in this area of Sydney around Baulkham Hills and Castle Hill, Parramatta, all those places. So I actually am quite familiar with this area. Uh, it's a very odd area to find someone in a creek. It is very residential around here. There's like you saw on the map. There's homes everywhere. It's um it's not like finding someone out in the bushland or something like that. This is like a park in between different housing areas. Like you would walk through it to get to another housing block or something like that. It's a very odd location. Almost seems like to me the fact that that home invasion only happened like a street over, almost like to send a message, almost like they're trying to send a message to someone or trying to display a message with the actual death of this man, because you could have put him anywhere. You could have put him out in the bushland where no one would have found him for, like, 3 years. The fact that it happened right here is, um, in my opinion, I think that's what it is. It's a message of some sort. To who and for what reason, I don't know. But that's what I pick up from it, from listening to the details. Now, a lot of people would say, you do bad things in life, you do criminal activity, you sort of die by the sword. Yeah, but I get that reasoning, and I've even said it myself on this channel. I also believe that people shouldn't be found face down in a creek, and we don't know for what reason, whether it even had anything to do with any of his criminal past as such, or was it some sort of retribution? Not sure, but it's not nice either way. I'm just trying to see if I can show you the area, and I'll explain what I mean. Yeah, let's go here. All right, here. So here is the creek right here. It runs through the homes here. And if I zoom out, I'll show you what I mean. Look, see? There's homes right here, everywhere surrounding Tory Burns Reserve. It's not like what people think it is, where it's like out in the bushland somewhere. It's right here. There's even a football pitch right here that's mowed and taken care of. There's a scout hall right here. Here is Jasper Road, a very well-known road in Baulkham Hills, and this is Gleason Avenue. My parents lived over here for a period of time, not about 4 streets away from here. Yeah, so a very strange place to sort of do it and leave someone right here at the back of homes, not far from where that home invasion happened not long after he went missing. So, all a bit of a mystery, but odd nonetheless. Very odd. Yeah, very populated. Weird that no one heard anything like a gunshot, something like that late at night. I'm sure that'll be part of the inquiries with the strike force to find out, did anyone hear anything? Were there any cars parked in this car park? Because you would think this would probably be the access point here. I mean, if you had to park somewhere, I mean, you could park here as well. But you would think maybe these homes might have cameras. I know, you're looking at homes that are pretty expensive in Sydney. You would think maybe they might have cameras. So probably parking, yeah, you would have cameras maybe everywhere. You got a bit of a problem here, even here on the other side of the creek. You got more homes. Very ballsy place to dump a body. because you got so many people nearby. We'll have to wait and see. Glad they found him, though. At least that is one part of the story that has been resolved. We'll have to wait and see what the strike force can find out about him. But not a very pleasant way for anyone to die. And he leaves behind a child as well. He's a father of one, and he leaves behind a young kid, which now has to grow up without his father. So pretty terrible. Yeah, let's wait for the investigation. Sure, they'll figure it out. New South Wales police are pretty good at figuring this type of thing out, and I'm sure they already have some ideas about what exactly happened here. All right, that is your updates from Australia. I really don't have a lot else from here. I mean, there's a bunch of local things that happened last night. Last night at Endeavour Hill Shopping Centre, there was like a gang fight. It was really odd. Started getting reports in the afternoon that someone had pulled a knife and a machete and were like chasing other young people. It seems to happen almost every weekend in Melbourne for some reason. We get these gang fights at what you guys would call a mall, but we call a shopping center. Yeah, very odd. Here, I want to take you out to Kentucky, but in the hours before this event, we also had one in Virginia, and then we had that one we spoke about last night in Michigan. We've had these multiple mass shooting events, and it always seems to happen in the summertime in America. And I can guess it's because there's more people out, it's hot at night, there's more events on, more gatherings of people, and you tend to have these really bizarre shootings. Like, for what reason? Just a couple of weeks ago, we had one done at a festival in Seattle, and someone, rival gangs, decided to pull out firearms in the middle of a giant crowd and shoot at each other. But instead of killing their rival gang members, they killed innocent people in the crowd. It was very odd. It was like, yeah, very clever. Well done. Well done. You didn't kill your rival gang. You killed everyday citizens going to a festival. It was very, very dumb. All right. I want to go to Kentucky because I want to show you sort of how it went down. And it was a pretty big gathering, a lot of people out here. And there was a video posted by Quadarius McCoy, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. And you see the shooting happen. Here, I'll play it.
I don't even know how much I want to do with three of y'all.
Dramatic, very dramatic video. You see the gun, you hear those gunshots go off, and then just everyone scatters. Should have been a decent afternoon for everyone out there, and instead, a lot of people, running for their lives. 5 people shot, one fatally injured, and this happened in Kentucky at the downtown bar district on Saturday evening. After all the crazy things we've happened over the last 24 hours, we've had other shootings in other places, like in Virginia, the one in the title. Just as I was getting ready to do the show, I saw this and I was like, what is going on in this weekend in August of all weekends in the year? Every other weekend has kind of been very quiet. Now we get this all in 24 hours. So, yeah, I'll put this up. You can see sort of what's going on. A lot of cop cars out there trying to get people away. I'm sure it's been cleared out now. Let me have a look. Let's see if we can go to a local news channel. It happened a few hours ago. WTNH in the US are reporting. What are they saying? They're saying that 5 people were shot at Charles Young Park in the city's downtown area. 4 victims suffered life-threatening injuries, including 2 adults, a 14-year-old, and a 4-year-old. Authorities have not released any information about a suspect or the deceased. No arrests have been made, and Lexington PD said there is no threat to the public at this time. Maybe not at this time, but I believe when those gunshots were going off, there was probably a threat to the public, I would think. I would think at the time the public was very much threatened. Maybe not now, but at the time. They're just showing you that they've cleared out the area. Authorities are now down there holding the area open, trying to get authorities, crime scene, trying to figure out how many gunshots, where it came from, any casings, that type of thing. Um, he ran towards it. Nobody wants to go back to school. I mean, it is approaching September, and the last week of August, everyone starts going back to the brand new school year in America. Actually, a lot of them are already back. If you're in college, a lot of them are already back on campus. They went back in end of July. A lot of them ended up, maybe they haven't started classes yet, but a lot of them went back a couple of weeks ago. So maybe they don't want to go back to school, but maybe it's the last effort of summertime. They're like, we won't get a chance again until next year. Now that the winter and fall, I don't know. I'm just spitballing as to why someone would want to do this today. So we got that one. 5 people injured. Then we had the other one in Virginia, which was even stranger. The one in Virginia was like, yeah, gunfire went off and we don't know why. Yeah, for multiple hours. Oh, they finally arrested someone. Finally, for like hours, they didn't know what was going on. They're saying a teenager has been arrested hours after 5 people were shot at a Virginia State University. The other one in Kentucky was 5 people as well. This one in Virginia, 5 people as well. Luckily, this one, none of the victims were killed, and the shooting happened at 1:30 a.m. in the morning. So that one was a bit strange. 1:30 in the morning is an odd time to go and pull out a firearm and shoot people. Yeah, I want to take you out to a local news if I can. I want to take you to WTVR if it'll load for me. Yep.
Welcome week is where all the freshmen get here a week early.
At Virginia State University, rhythmic sounds from the drumline range students into campus ahead of the first day of classes Monday.
I wasn't expecting that at all, not gonna.
But freshman engineering student Miles Blake says the percussion ringing out early Saturday morning
I knew something was gonna happen, but I wasn't expecting a shooting.
was much more terrifying.
I looked out the window, everybody was just running. I saw everybody running, so I knew it was shots.
This police scene here was the result of a mass shooting near the University Quad Annex buildings on campus on the 3300 block of Boyso Street, which injured 5 people, one of those critically.
There was like 100 shots going off, like rapid fire.
5 victims, including a VSU student, were taken to nearby hospitals. VSU officials confirmed that the student was among those with non-life-threatening injuries and has since been released from the hospital.
All the RAs were running outside, telling all the students to come in, and nobody could really walk outside their building.
The act of violence prompted an hours-long campus-wide lockdown, which, according to an email sent to students, has transitioned to a campus-wide curfew.
Students that are off the campus can come on the campus after 9, and Yeah, they just put more cops on duty.
And it just
So, like he said, he was just in the dorm and heard rapid fire gunshots going off at 1:30 a.m. in the morning. Bizarre. Why today? Chipmunk said next week will be worse. According to my hypothesis, bigger, worse stuff to come. There was a odd story going around last week saying we were all going to lose gravity for 7 seconds on Wednesday or something. I'm like, who is buying this stuff and where did you get your education in the way the world works, gravity? 7 seconds, hey? Somehow the Earth is going to lose its gravity. Okay. Um, very odd. Very odd. It was during the eclipse. Yeah, that's not how that works. The gravity of Earth is determined by our mass. Where would it go? The Earth is just going to disappear for like a portion of a minute. I don't think so. You would have to vaporize Earth for a period of time. It's not like a light switch that can be turned off and on. You can't just get rid of our gravity worldwide for 7 seconds. So, yeah, that was going around about a week ago. We will see what happens, but I don't think that's going to be anything. Yeah, it was bizarre. It was all over the papers, and I was like, why is this even a thing? Did none of us go to high school, science class, geography? No one? Me? You? Anyone? Oh, hold on. Sorry, had to cough. Let me try and find it for you because it is so ridiculous. I'm trying to find like if there is yeah, see, it's so dumb. None of like the mainstream news would talk about it. Oh, actually, WBTV in Charlotte did. All right. Let's go and check it out if you didn't hear about this from last week.
Suddenly float into the air? Did your coffee cup just take off across the room? Hopefully not, but that was the bizarre theory that gained traction online this week. Gravity allegedly was supposed to disappear from Earth this morning at exactly 9:33, and it was going to happen for 7 seconds. So where did this idea even come from? And was there any kind of credibility to it? Good question. Let's take a closer look here tonight. The viral claim centered around something called Project Anchor. Posts online claim two black holes colliding far out in space would send a wave toward Earth strong enough to essentially switch off our gravity for 7 seconds. The theory said anything not tied down could float into the air until gravity suddenly came back. Some posts even claimed the government secretly knew it was coming and was preparing for it. But let's be clear, none of that was real. NASA even weighed in on the theory, saying Earth was never going to lose gravity today, not even a little bit. And the reason for that, well, pretty simple, really. So let's take you back to some elementary school science. Gravity, that's the force pulling you toward the Earth. The Earth can do that because it's enormous and it has a lot of mass. So Earth's gravity to suddenly disappear, well, the Earth itself would essentially have to disappear, or
Yeah, exactly what I was trying to tell you before. You would have to vaporize the Earth somehow or make its mass or weight and size just disintegrate. We would all be gone. I don't know where people come up with this type of thing, but they were like, the US government were building holes in the earth like a Noah's Ark out of that movie from the 90s. What was that movie called? Deep Impact. They were making like some sort of Noah's Ark in the deep mountains of Virginia, and that they were going to randomly ballot people to come survive the gravity defying event for 7 seconds. Glad that didn't happen. Chipmunk said hypothesis, not theory. It would have to be proven very true to be a theory. It's an educated guess. It's a hypothesis. Well, these guys I don't think it's even an educated guess at anything. Seems like more like clickbait for for like the sort of like, what do you call it? The people who just scroll their feeds like on the TikTok. They're just like, "Hey, I need something to entertain my brain for 2 minutes. I need to hear about how we're all going to lose gravity." So, we didn't lose gravity, thank God. Um and yeah, so yeah, no gravity. We can't blame the shootings on gravity except for the fact that the bullets went forward and then fell to the ground. That's all we can blame gravity on for that. So yeah, two shootings. Why? Look, I don't know. Sometimes I think people get to the end of the US summertime and they're so annoyed at all the heat that they do this. It's the only sort of thing I can come up with, that people get so fed up with the humidity and the heat, and they just go postal, basically. There could be other theories about it too. Maybe there was like a personal vendetta. Not sure, but it's not like the one we had yesterday where that guy went and basically shot family members because he was blaming all his family members for all of his problems in life. And his ex wife was very lucky to survive. Her and her three children were not victims of that shooting. So it's been a weird 24 hours for it. They're saying here that in the Virginia one, all 5 individuals who were shot were transported to local hospitals, and one is currently in critical condition. The other 4 sustained non life threatening injuries. So that is okay news. No one died in that one, thank God. And hopefully, the person in critical condition is going to survive. Hopefully, they will survive. There's another photo of it there, Magnolia Hall, and not far from where the shooting happened in Virginia. Have I not seen the program? I've seen all the programs. Which one? They live in an underground world? I don't want to live in an underground world. All right. That's your updates on the shootings. Hopefully, no more. We've still got some time for the weekend, and I'm hoping we don't see a 5th mass shooting go down in the USA before Monday. Fingers crossed, no more shootings. What else do I have for you tonight? It's a bit of a slow weekend tonight. We don't have any massive cases going um, this weekend. I'm just trying to see if I have anything new for you. No. What else were we looking into? What else did we have updates for? I know people wanted to know more about the girl that was located yesterday in the manhunt, Isabel Johnson. Well, they've not given out very much information, but a little bit of more information came out overnight. Isabel Johnson, after being interviewed for about 24 hours, has now been charged in connection with the death of Jason Coulthard, and she is now going to face murder charges for what happened to him. We also found out a little bit more about what happened to him. Now, when they found his body in a shallow grave in Florida, we found out today that he had a zip tie around his neck. So they put a zip tie around his neck, and it sounds like they asphyxiated him with a zip tie. I think that is what a awful way to kill. I mean, every way to kill someone is awful, but what a really just very almost like torture. Because you put that around their neck and then you tighten it, you're basically going to watch them die from asphyxiation. I mean, sounds awful, but that's what we found out. That's how they found his body in that shallow grave. Here's a photo of her, and there's her being arrested yesterday after a 45-day manhunt across like Georgia, Alabama, and Florida. and they ended up finding her at a random person's home after she told them that she was a victim of DV and needed somewhere to go. So this nice person took her in and didn't know that they were taking in a wanted fugitive. But they finally found her and she is in custody, charged with the murder of Jason. Being held. She did appear in court too. She's being held without bond, so they have declined bond for her, which is good update. Yeah, I'm just trying to see what other news we have about her. So she had her first court appearance in Walton County on Saturday morning. She ended up being extradited from Jackson County to Walton County Jail on Friday evening, and she is going to remain there for quite some time after her bond was withheld. She is not going to have bond. And yeah, we heard that little bit of new information about Jason, which I think is really horrific. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can find out where that information came from. Here. A DNA match officially confirmed that the recovered remains belonged to Jason. Autopsy details later revealed that he was found with a zip tie around his neck. Wow, that is awful, awful, awful. I want to know more about their relationship of who she was to him, whether they were a couple or just knew each other in life or something. They're saying here Isabel Rose Johnson was arrested in Jackson County on Thursday, and I really want to know more about Jason. Hold on. I want to know why she would have hurt him. Oh, interesting. His body was found buried under concrete with a black Cadillac parked over it to hide the grave. An arrest report noted that a large white zip tie was wrapped around his neck. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. I'm just trying to say. Yeah, so he was 43 years old at the time of his death. They didn't even know he was missing. They just found him in a shallow grave. Yeah, let's go here. The unidentified remains were found on a Freeport, Florida property on June 25th after investigators were able to identify Coulthard's body had been buried, according to a sheriff report. A DNA match confirmed the remains were Coulthard's in July. 5 other people have been arrested and charged in connection with the murder, including 2 people who were accused of aiding and abetting Johnson. Crazy. Really crazy. Really, really crazy. Yeah, I'm just trying to see. Okay. Walton County put out a update today. What does it say? Is this the new mugshot? Here we go. New mugshot for her. Does she look pleased at being captured? I think she looks very happy at being captured. She looks ecstatic at being caught. I think the way that she was caught was literally a genius way to track her down. The fact that they got a subpoena for her electronic data and accounts and then use the IP address that she was using to connect to those accounts, and then they backtracked and found out where that IP address was connecting from and then raided the property and found her was a very ingenious police work. Really, really well done. The fact that they couldn't track her down for a number of weeks and then had to get creative in how they could find out where she was. So very creative job at tracking her down. I'm just trying to find out why Coulthard. They don't say. They just say that the charges stem from the discovery of the 43-year-old Jason Coulthard on a property in Walton County in June. He had been reported missing to the Niceville Police Department in late May. I didn't know that. I thought he was not reported missing, but we're now learning that he was. Yeah, I'll show you a photo of him if I can grab it. Yeah. There is a photo of him. Why? Shallow grave as a giver. I don't know what that means, but him himself, he is the person, Jason Coulthard, who was found in that grave. Why he needed to die will be a point that we need to find out during the court process. I think that would be very useful to find out. Hold on. Jason Coulthard. Yes. All right, let me try and find out why. Yeah, I've heard that too. So it says here that Isabel Rose Johnson and Jason Coulthard never has been publicly identified as what their relationship is, but I've heard through other people that have contacted me saying that they were at one point in time romantically involved, but what that actually means and whether that's true, I don't know. But they're saying here law enforcement and some media outlets said that the two of them were in a relationship, but I don't know if that means they were in one at the time of his death or they were in one at some point. Officials reported that Coulthard was killed while asleep in a known drug house where both of them frequented. So both of them had frequented the drug house, and that. So did she walk in there, place a zip tie over his neck, and pull it, and basically killed him in his sleep? That's very cold-blooded. A witness statement in the arrest report claims that Johnson openly spoke of wanting to get rid of Coulthard simply because he was aggravating and irritating to her. Okay, I mean, I guess I've seen less reason to kill someone than because they are aggravating and irritating. That bit about him dying in his sleep and being asleep is brutal. My chat is very slow. Could have walked away. She could have. Definitely could have walked away. She did not need to kill him. And you know, the whole idea that I want to kill him because he is irritating to me is very a small reason to go and put a zip tie over someone's neck while they are asleep, I think, is pretty awful. Let's see, 24 hours since authorities captured her. Okay, let's go to WMBB TV and see what they have to say. Okay. It didn't load. Good work. Huh. Give me 1 second, guys. Sometimes these American links don't load properly. Yeah, here we go.
We were learning more about the 24 hours after murder suspect Isabella Johnson's capture. Johnson is charged with the murder of 43-year-old Jason Coulthard. And after almost 2 months of evading law enforcement officials, they were arrested at a home in Cottondale. Happened yesterday afternoon. News 13's Grace Velez joins us live from the Walton County Jail. Grace, this morning, Johnson made a first court appearance in Jackson County. Has she been extradited now back to Walton County? Is that the case?
Yeah, Tom, she is in the Walton County Jail right now, and I just want to give you a look at what the last 24 hours have been like for Johnson, for investigators as well. For investigators, the last 24 hours has been about putting the pieces together of an almost 45-day puzzle. So I just want to walk you guys through, just refresh your memory, although this story is obviously on everyone's mind, as to what the break in the case was. Yesterday, investigators were able to get a search warrant that to Johnson's digital messages, and that from there they were able to trace an IP address back to that home in Cottondale. Now here's some new information. In that home in Cottondale, now we know investigators are saying that she was staying with at least one other person, and preliminary findings show that she had given that person a similar story of domestic violence and personal hardships that she'd previously told a tattoo clerk in Destin, as we reported. So that's kind of all been raveling. I asked Chief Deputy Cosin, what did those messages say? Were the messages with that person? He says they were. He said yesterday investigators' number one priority was just getting that location and getting her behind bars. And now they're actually going through the messages and what the context of those messages say. So that's going to be used to corroborate the story from this person that they had been told that Johnson was in need of help. So yesterday I asked Deputy Cosin what Johnson...
All right. The reason that matters and why they're talking about that, the sheriff in this particular case wants to charge anyone who knowingly helped her. So anyone who may have given her shelter or a trip or took her to, another location, if they did it with the knowledge that she was wanted and is a fugitive, they will be arrested and charged in relation to it. The reason that they're trying to figure it out with this person is if they were under the influence of, oh, this is a DV survivor and they asked me for help, they would not be charged in relation to aiding and abetting a fugitive. So that's why that matters. That's why they're trying to figure that out.
Johnson's demeanor was, and he said that picture of her capture says it all, that her demeanor was just straight up defeated. Now since then, he says her demeanor has shifted quite a bit, first vacant, then annoyed, and he has a little bit more to say about that as well.
You know, when somebody's been on the run for 45 plus days, there's an expectation from her that now she doesn't have to look over her shoulder. I see that and saw that yesterday. Now, there's a realization now, though, that she is in jail and she's not going to be getting out of jail for a long, long time. So her demeanor is going to kind of be all over the place. Our hope is that she continues to progress and wants to talk to us and wants to tell us exactly what happened. That's what we are really pushing for now, is getting all of that information for some closure.
I don't know about you, but in that footage, it looks like she's been crying. Like her nose is very red, and so is like her face, very puffy. Almost like she's been like crying to the officers. In this photo here, she looks very red around the nose and looks like she's been upset at her capture. Well, lady, if proven true, and these allegations are true about what you did to Jason Coulthard, like, you could have avoided all of this by not wrapping a zip tie around his neck while he was asleep and killing him. You could be free right now, scamming more people around the country with your story of DV. You don't have to be in jail in handcuffs. All you had to do was not kill what is apparently your partner. So, almost like you're telling a story of DV to people, but you're the one committing DV and DV murder because of what you did to Jason. So she's basically projecting what she did to a man to other people. She is a awful individual, and I hope we find out more about Jason. I hope we do, because we don't know a lot about him. Like, we do see that photo of him with a child. I don't know whose child that might be, but we deserve to, well, he deserves to have his story told, and hopefully charges will continue through court with her. Um, Sad story when you hear the rest of it. I didn't know about the zip tie around his neck. I think that's it's a really just personal, up close way of killing someone. It's not like a gunshot from afar. It's very similar to men who strangle women, but this is almost like the female version of it. You know, wrapping that makes me think I'm not going to be able to breathe in a second. It's an awful way to die. Yeah, revealed the victim had a large white zip tie secured around his neck. Terrible. Very terrible. Hopefully, I want to find out more about his life, and so far we've not got very much. We know very little. Here, what does it say? They talk about how there's been a ton of work done in the 45 days since she's been on the run, and they said that their only priority is to bring her back to Walton County, which they have, and to put her through the court system. They're saying that Johnson dyed and cut her hair and also wore hats and sunglasses to hide her appearance while on the run. She apparently had the support of people she knew. 5 people have already been arrested for helping in that capacity. And they're saying Coulthard's remains were found June 26, 1 month after he was last seen leaving an apartment complex. His identity was only confirmed nearly 3 weeks after the remains were found. This is very interesting. When we talked about how they found the body, there must have been multiple other people involved, and we know 5 people have already been arrested, but you think about the effort that went into it, those other people must have had knowledge of his death, because you think about it, they must have dug the hole, poured the concrete, and made the concrete slab over him, let it dry, and then parked a car over it. So, like, multiple people must have known that he was buried under that concrete. Um, yeah, multiple, maybe these people, these 5 people, some of them lived at the property where his body was found. So maybe that's part of the reason they are in custody too, is because yeah, he was they knew of how he died, how he was buried, all that type of thing. I don't know how they found him. They just said they knew that he had been buried. How they found that, I'm not 100% sure. I'm just trying to see if I can figure it out. I'll check one other thing. I don't think I've heard how they found. Huh. Interesting. Investigators discovered his location after receiving a critical tip from an incarcerated individual at Okaloosa Jail. That's very interesting. How would an inmate know where the body of a dead man is if they've been in jail? Unless they were arrested between the time that he died and his body was found. But they're saying, yeah, June 25th, an inmate provided specific information to detectives regarding the potential whereabouts of Coulthard's remains. And then they said, armed with this tip, the Walton County Sheriff's Office immediately secured and executed a search warrant that same evening at that Sunset Lane property in Freeport, in Florida. Upon searching the property where prime suspect Isabel Johnson lived, investigators located a shallow grave hidden beneath a layer of fresh concrete with a black Cadillac intentionally parked over it to obstruct the burial site. So that's how they found out. That this is going to be a hell of a story when they finally like give us all the information of what happened leading up to his death and burial. It's going to be very, very interesting. Let's see. I was wondering if we had a different photo of him. The only two photos I have are this one here, which I think tells you this is definitely a mugshot, and he's wearing an orange prison uniform in this one. And then there was another. There's very few photos of him. There's that one too. So, what do snitches get? Well, she's now in jail in Walton County. So, would she cross paths with the person who told on her? Maybe. Depends if they're a man or a woman, I guess. Concrete over him, yeah. They would have had to have helped. You can't do that on your own. How does she take such a good booking photo? You think she looks good in the booking photo? I think she just looks like a woman who's been captured for murder. I don't think she looks any type of remarkable. So, yeah, interesting news. I think as we go along, we're going to get more and more. She did appear in court. Bond has been revoked, well, denied, and she is not getting out anytime soon. Next court day. When is she next due in court? DNA match. Yep. Let's have a look. So she's definitely been charged. Yeah, let me see. Next. All right, let's have a look. When will she next be in court now? Okay, it doesn't say. No next court day as of yet, but apparently the Walton County Clerks of Courts will make a announcement when there is an upcoming hearing for her. But yeah, she appeared briefly in Jackson County on August 14, then appeared in Walton County Court after extradition on August 15, where a judge ordered her to be continued in detention without bail. So that is your update for her. Look at her arrest pics. These ones here, I don't know why I mean, she just looks like a normal person to me. I mean, I don't see the attraction here of some Hollywood superstar type you know, image or anything. I think she just looks like a woman who's been done for a very gruesome crime. There you go. There's the other one. I still reckon that shirt is probably the funniest thing I've seen someone be arrested with. Forced to be reckoned with, hey? I mean, at least she owns her her behavior. All right. Saturday night. What time are we? 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. 3:30. 3:30. All right. What else do I have for you on my list of things? We did find a little bit more about the Michigan man who went on a gun rampage yesterday. I think we heard a little bit more about him. Here's his photo, by the way. He is accused of killing 5 people and then himself in a shooting. They're saying he had a long history of violence and aggressive behavior, and he had multiple backgrounds, 4th degree child charges, one count of contributing to the delinquency of a minor, and his name is Chad Hickman. And that is what we've found out. I was trying to see if we knew more about the victims from yesterday. They're saying here, although several names have surfaced on social media about who the victims are, Authorities have neither confirmed nor released the names, ages, or genders of the victims. Police have not publicly explained how the victims were connected to Hickman or to one another. So they've not come out publicly with much more information since yesterday when Chad Hickman went on this gun rampage in Michigan in Lake Township. And they're saying here, no updates on the victims so far. I'd really like it if we could find out more about what happened to him. But apparently, one of them was a teen girl and one of them was a teen boy. Yeah. They're saying here a teenage boy and 4 adults were killed Friday in shootings that prompted a wide search for the fleeing gunman, whose body was ultimately found in a wooded area alongside one of his victims. They're saying the bodies were of a 16-year-old boy, a 45-year-old man, a 40-year-old woman, and a 13-year-old girl who was in critical condition. So we found out a little bit more, but not a ton about what happened to him. I'm just trying to see if there was a update in the last couple of hours about Mr. Chad Hickman. Um, Not really. I think the information that I've given you is sort of the up to date. They're sort of keeping it a bit quiet now, probably until they have, I don't know. The fact that the gunman is dead is probably part of the reason they don't have someone to arrest. They don't have someone to charge and take through court. All they have is his dead body and unfortunately his victims. Let's see. Detroit, Fox 2. Yeah, not a big update. Just having a look at the Detroit. No, sorry guys. I was hoping to have something for you, but I'll take you to Up North Live briefly.
From the shooting yesterday in Missaukee County that left 6 dead, including the shooter, we have team coverage tonight beginning with Caitlin Devitt, who was on the scene this morning and talked with state police on where the investigation stands today.
Michigan State Police are still investigating the motive behind a shooting yesterday in Missaukee County. Troopers were first called to a home on LaChance Road.
13-year-old on the phone stating she was shot in the arm. I'm having a hard time communicating with her.
At the house, they found a 45-year-old man, a 40-year-old woman, and a 16-year-old boy shot to death. A fourth victim, the 13-year-old girl who called 911 for help, she's now listed in stable condition. Police identified the shooter as 39-year-old Chad Hickman and began searching the area for him.
They located the suspect, Mr. Hickman, in a wooded area near Whitlock Lake with an additional 29-year-old female. Both were deceased. So that's where we're at today.
A fifth victim, a 53-year-old man, was found dead in a separate home. Investigators are now trying to piece together why this happened.
We want to make sure that we are giving 100% of our resources, 100% of our efforts to make sure that we are collecting and gathering all the accurate information to make sure that we're solving this case and bringing closure to our community members.
In Missaukee County, Caitlin Devitt, Up North Live News.
The shootings have left a
All right, so that's basically the updated information on that. 5 people and why he felt the need to do that. Well, you heard he had a violent and disturbing back history in his life. So terrible. You know, there was one in Florida in the last 24 hours too. I don't know if many of you caught it, but there was this weird story out of Florida about a Florida woman found dead in a car, neighbor dead amid suspected property line fight. So neighbors fought so severely that one of them was killed, and then the neighbor decided to take his own. They're saying this is in Lake County, and they're saying here a woman was found dead in her car, suspected of being killed by her next door neighbor amid a years long fight over property lines. The woman's next door neighbor, who is suspected of killing her, was found dead inside his house. All over property lines? Really? This is what you want to, you know, this is a hill that you want to die on? You want to die on property lines in Florida. I think it's like, I mean, I get having crazy neighbors or something like that, but to go to this length of actually murdering your neighbor, I don't know what sends people in this direction. Why not just move? Why not sell your home and get out of there if you don't like your neighbor that much? Why would you kill her? I think that is, we've seen a few of them and it's bizarre. Yeah, I want to take you out to Fox in Orlando and I'll show you the video about it. It's very strange. Lake County, yep, here we go.
A missing person call in Mount Dora led to a woman found dead in her car and the man identified as the suspect found dead right next door. I'm your News 6 Neighborhood Network community correspondent, Alex Cook. Thursday night, you can see that someone left flowers here at the deceased woman's house. I spoke to a neighbor just down the street who said that woman's daughter came here looking for her mother after she hadn't heard from her. She couldn't find her, so she contacted the sheriff's office. What started as a missing persons call quickly became a death investigation, and it led deputies right next door. There are few visible signs of what deputies say they found here. The victim's vehicle has already been removed. But deputies say when they arrived Wednesday evening, they found a bullet hole through its passenger side window and blood inside. When they searched the vehicle, they found the missing woman dead in the rear hatchback area under a blanket. The sheriff's office says they learned the woman had an ongoing dispute with a man next door over property lines.
I think it is, what a waste of life to kill someone over this. It's not even a property. These are like, these look like, what are they? What would you call them? They look like those, like when you go to like a camping place, like a campsite. They look like a campsite where they have the little cabins. That's what it looks like, and they're fighting over property boundaries with it. Is this a reason to go and kill someone? I think it's brutal. They're saying here a woman was found dead under a blanket in her car's rear hatchback after a property dispute. The neighbor ended up taking his own life. The body is of a woman called 63-year-old Patricia Brennan from Fort Lauderdale. Sorry, that's a different one. It's giving me the wrong story. No, it is. Woman found dead under blanket. Her name is not Patricia, though. Let me go. This is Mount Dora. Let's check out what it says. Yeah, here's the property. Check it out. You saw it in that video, but here. So, where exactly would you have a fight over property lines? Like, you can see they're pretty close, but you have a driveway and then what looks to be another driveway. And that is motivation to go and, we see very strange murders on this channel all the time, but these ones that end up with like a small dispute that end up erupting into something like this is very odd. They're saying the deputy said the next door neighbor then became set. Yeah, here. The sheriff's office said they learned from a victim's family member and neighbors that the woman had an ongoing dispute with the man next door over property lines. Deputies said the next door neighbor then became a suspect. His truck was still in the driveway, but law enforcement tried to contact him outside the home and did not get a response. Detectives obtained a search warrant and called in a SWAT team. When SWAT team went inside, deputies found the men dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, according to the sheriff's office. Look, I think that is a waste of life on both sides of the equation here. To go and kill a neighbor for this, I really don't get it. I mean, I know neighbors can be crazy or whatever, but to actually go do that takes a lot. Here's what the door looked like. So did he fire through her door? This is the window or door of her home, and you can see the different gunshot wounds. Brutal. Trying to see if we can find like a reason for it other than the property line. Investigators located a bullet hole through the passenger side window of her car and blood inside the woman's vehicle. Her body was discovered in the back of the hatchback. So the guy's name is 56-year-old Matthew DeVivo, and he is the main suspect for it. The woman's name, I believe, has not been given out. Very, very odd. Very odd, guys. To do that to a neighbor, even though we all know they're mental. Single wide mobile homes that are rented. Yeah, something like that. That's what I would have thought. A double wide. Yeah, they don't look like a normal property where you have a fence line, something like that. They like the property boundaries are probably there, but it looks a bit loose with like no fencing and just a driveway, that type of thing. Um, Probably in their retirement or retirement years or older in life, and should be enjoying, you know, enjoying their lives on a nice place in Florida, not getting into a dispute about, hey, your truck is one half of a wheel onto my driveway. That's probably what it was. Like when you see the home here, that's his truck right there, the black one. That's his truck. That's the one they couldn't get into, and that's his door there. But he's probably parking too far over, and she's like, "Get your giant truck off my driveway," something like that. All right, very sad update. That woman, what a waste of life. That's what Ping thinks. A waste of life. All right, let me see. Let me try and get you another update. How you guys going tonight? Having a good night out there? Wish we had some court details I could tell you tonight, but I do not have anything as it is the weekend. We don't have a lot um, on the weekends. Let me have a look. Who's this? That's a weird story. Um, in the UK, is that for real? In the UK, apparently a woman's body was found stuffed into a bag. Where is this? I'm trying to find out where this is. Give me a sec. Ah, this is in Malaysia. Wait, is it in Malaysia? We don't do a lot of stories out of Malaysia, but they're saying that there was a woman's body found stuffed inside a bag near Kuala Kangsar it must be Malaysia, and they found her body in a bag. They said here a a tour boat driver made a gruesome discovery after spotting a decomposing body stuffed inside a suitcase. Here's a photo. Not of the body, of the suitcase. This is what they found in the water just near the jetty. And then they discovered that there was actually a female stuffed into that suitcase. Just trying to find out exactly. Is it Singapore? SG? I'm trying to find out. My geography is not that great. Where is Kuala Kangsar? Malaysia. Yeah, Malaysia. It's in Malaysia. So even in Malaysia, you can't escape crimes against women, apparently. They're saying here The tour boat driver made a gruesome discovery today after spotting a decomposing body stuffed inside a wrapped suitcase in the shallow waters of Sungai Perak. And they're saying he noticed that a drop in the water level had left the plastic wrapped suitcase stranded on the middle of the riverbed. Police informed the operation commander that a body had been found in the middle of the river, and firefighters stood by while police forensic teams conducted its initial investigation. Police forensic unit arrived at 6:40 p.m. and retrieved the suitcase and the body. The victim is believed to be an unidentified female who had been dead for several days based on the advanced state of the decomposition. The tour boat operator reportedly noticed the suitcase trapped in the river over the past few days, but only discovered today that parts of a body were protruding from it. And they said it was accompanied by a strong foul odor. Wow, even in Malaysia, even in Malaysia, women can't get away from violent detention. Who's Hey, Ashlyn. Nice. Thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. Yeah, we don't do a lot of stories out of a lot of Asian countries. Very rarely, very rare. But this one, I'll have to put it on my alert thing to see if we get any updates about whether this woman was a local. Maybe she could be a tourist as well. Like we had that story about an Australian man who went to it was Thailand, and ended up killing a woman and putting her body in a suitcase and dumping her nearby. It could be that this will end up being something similar. Could be a local man, could be a tourist who has done this. The woman could be local, or she could be a tourist as well. The fact that a suitcase is involved might indicate that it is someone traveling in the country. So we're going to have to wait and see if the local PD gives out an update. But yeah, not often I get one out of Malaysia. They're saying here Malaysian police have officially launched a murder investigation into how the woman ended up in the suitcase in the river. They're saying here no ID has been given to the woman, and there is no one obvious who is missing from the area at the moment. The case is officially classed and being investigated under Section 302 of the Malaysian Penal Code for murder. The body has been transferred to Taiping Hospital for a post-mortem examination. I will keep an eye on that one for you, and we'll find out. This is a very gruesome image, I think. I don't know whether this thing on the edge here might be a body part. There's something protruding from the suitcase right here, and I hope to God it is not a part of her body, but it might be. I hope not. Kim said, "I'm just calling the cops." Well, he did. He did. Kim said, "Stop looking in abandoned suitcases." Yeah, I think anyone in true crime who opens a suitcase that is not theirs is taking a hell of a risk. I think we've seen far too many suitcases be, full of body parts. Yeah, strange story for a Saturday night. A unidentified female body found in Malaysia. That is not a story I think I've ever read on this channel before. Let me have a look if we've got anything else out here. No, let's go past 24 hours. Okay, let's go to Baton Rouge in Louisiana. A man in Baton Rouge is accused of driving to Memphis, Tennessee, with a dead woman in the car due in court. Here's a photo of him, a mugshot. And what are they telling us here? They're saying, according to the Baton Rouge Police Department, detectives from Memphis PD contacted Louisiana investigators on August 13 following a traffic stop. Police say Bradford had suffered a gunshot wound. Here's her photo. I'll put it up. There we go. There's her photo. She is the victim in this particular case. They're saying here, Baton Rouge investigators say Bradford and Brazil had been together at Independence Community Park in Baton Rouge before her death. Police say the two got into a verbal disagreement and he shot her. Investigators allege he then fled Baton Rouge and drove several states before he was stopped in Memphis. He was taken into custody in Memphis as a fugitive and is scheduled to appear on Monday as he awaits extradition to Louisiana. Okay, buddy. His real name is Tyrone. His name is Tyrone. He's 50 years old. And he just decided to shoot this woman and go on a multi-state trip with her body in the car. I think that is bizarre. Yeah, I'm going to take you out to a news station for a little update.
Morning, police just released details about a deadly shooting in Baton Rouge. They say 50-year-old Tyrone Brazil faces charges in connection with the murder of 50-year-old Lanessa Bradford. We're told that suspect was taken into custody in Memphis back on Friday. Investigators say Brazil allegedly shot the victim in Baton Rouge, then drove to Tennessee. That's where police pulled the suspect over and discovered the victim dead in the passenger seat. The suspect is now awaiting extradition back to Baton Rouge. And here at
Well, I bet you've
There we go. There you go. He's going to be due in court on Monday. Why would you drive all the way from Louisiana to Memphis, Tennessee, with a dead woman in your car? I think that is. What did he think? He could outrun the cops eventually? Like, what was the plan of action here? To just keep driving until what exactly? You got to the Atlantic Ocean? Like, where exactly was he going? I think that is a mystery. Yeah. There's Mr. Tyrone. And what are they saying about him? He was arrested after he allegedly shot the woman in Louisiana, drove with the victim's dead body in the passenger seat. Was he trying to use the carpool lane? Is that what it was? He's like, hey, I have to have two people in the car. Louisiana authorities said the shooting occurred at Independence Community Park, adding they believe Bradford was shot after getting into an argument with Brazil, and his charges include murder in connection with her death. Well, I think that might be one of the more weirdest stories I've heard of. Yeah, that might be one of the more stranger stories of someone taking a body on a car trip that I've ever heard of. Never returning from here. All right. What else do we have on our list? We got a lot of small stories tonight. Omaha woman shooting. Okay. There was a court in Nebraska today. We don't often get a lot of updates out of Nebraska, but I do have one for you. If I can get to it. There was here, let me close this thing off. There we go. There was a trial in Nebraska. This guy, if I can get this up here. There we go. So this is in Douglas County, and his name is Keanu Lewis. Keanu Lewis. I might be getting a cold. I can't talk today. A Douglas County court finds Keanu Lewis guilty on all counts for shooting and killing an Omaha woman in November of 2022. That is quite a while. It's been waiting for trial. They're saying investigators found Lewis and brought him back to Douglas County in December of 22. He was 18 years old at the time went to Seattle after killing a woman. Her last name is Kellogg, and she was killed near 49th and Miami in November of 22. He was charged with first-degree murder along with 22-year-old Cameron Foster in the killing, and he was on trial. He's now been found guilty on all counts related to that death of this woman. Here, I'll play this thing from KETV. It's very short.
After a mistrial, which was declared in March, the case for the death of a 20-year-old has a verdict. 22-year-old Keanu Lewis found guilty on all charges, including the murder of 20-year-old Daytuana Kellogg. Court documents say Lewis fled to Seattle after the deadly shooting in November of 2022. And in March, a mistrial was declared after a split 10-2 jury decision. His sentencing date is still unknown.
There you go. A long time to get to trial, almost 4 years and a mistrial for that one. But sounds like he has finally been found guilty. He was 18 at the time. If he was 18 and it's been 4 years, he must be like 22 now. He's now been convicted of murder. He's probably going to do what, 20 years or so in jail. He wouldn't be until his mid 40s by the time he got out of jail in Nebraska for that one. Very sad to hear that he just decided to execute that woman, but at least now the court has taken care of it. All right, what else? We're trying to catch up on all the little stories tonight before the end of the week. What else do I have? There was one in Philadelphia, but I think we did that yesterday. It was a man and a woman were found dead. There was another one in Houston where a woman was killed, 3 injured after argument leads to shooting in Sunnyside. Actually, I do have something. I do have something for you. It is the anniversary of a crime in Houston, and I really want to talk about it. Actually, we've talked about it a few times, but let's go over it again for people who are new to the channel. It is the anniversary, and a very sad anniversary for this one. There was a house fire in Texas about 2 years ago now. A mother, her son, and the son's girlfriend were all found dead in the home after the fire was extinguished. They later found out that all 3 of them had been shot and killed inside the home before it was set on fire. We're now, 2 years past the triple homicide, and still no one has been brought in. No one has been officially labeled a suspect. And 3 people's deaths are basically now turning into what I would consider a cold case. No, there's been no updates. We had a small video come out about some neighborhood CCTV, and it is here. Yeah, I want to take you out to KPRC2 Click Houston, and this was a year ago. They did this anniversary.
Year since 3 people were mysteriously shot to death inside of a Cypress home before the killer intentionally set the home on fire.
The tragedy happened on August 18th of last year at a home off Plains River Drive. 54-year-old Kelly Mascalari and her son, 23-year-old Colin Foster, were killed, as was Colin's girlfriend, 21-year-old Cameron Richard.
KPRC2's Coralie Peel has been following this case since the very beginning, and she sat down with Cameron Richards' parents, who are hoping for more answers.
Over the past year, no one has been identified as a suspect. In this case, there are 2, the shooter and the getaway driver. There is still a $25,000 reward on the line, but Cameron Richard's family is starting to feel hopeless.
She was the joy of my life.
A year of heartbreak is what Cameron Richard's parents, Tina and Johnny Taylor, have felt without their kind, sweet, and animal-loving daughter.
Just horrific. I mean, just something that you never ever expect, you never think you'd go through.
21-year-old Cameron was staying at this Cypress home off Plains River Drive with her boyfriend, 23-year-old Colin Foster, and his mother, Kelly Mascarelli. On August 18, 2024, detectives say all three were shot to death before someone intentionally set the home on fire. When was the last time you talked to Cameron?
The night before. But I talked to her at 9 o'clock, and she was watching Grey's Anatomy for the 15th time. She sent back, "Good night, Mama. I love you so, so, so much." That was the last words I spoke with her.
Cameron's parents did not know what happened until watching the news the next morning.
I recognized the house, and then I saw her car out front. And I screamed for Johnny and said, that's the house that Cameron lives at.
The killer was nowhere to be found. 6 months after the murders, the Harris County Sheriff's Office and FBI Houston released this surveillance video of the suspected killer and the getaway car. Around 5:30 a.m., this black sedan is seen driving around the neighborhood for about 30 minutes. At 6:03 a.m., a thin hooded man is dropped off at the intersection of Watermill Drive and Palos Park Drive. He starts walking south towards the community center while the other suspect drives around the neighborhood. The man in the hoodie hops the fence. He enters through the back gate of the home without forced entry. Once inside, he quickly shoots all three people, killing them before using an accelerant to set the home on fire, covering his tracks. 11 minutes later, around 6:14 a.m., surveillance from the clubhouse shows a man walking away from the home. The getaway driver picks him up near Cypresswood Drive and Palos Park Drive and takes off. After the surveillance was released, law enforcement sources told me they had a good lead on the vehicle, but no updates since. Investigators say majority of the clues of the cold-hearted killing erased by flames that burned the home that remains boarded up.
It has now been 2 years since that fire and triple homicide, and we still don't know anything. There, with that CCTV is the only thing we have to go on as the public, and there is a reward, $25,000 reward for information, but other than that, nothing. No one, as far as we know, has ever been brought in. No one has ever been accused of being the suspected killer, nor has the person who was driving the vehicle or multiple people. They're not sure if there's only one in that car or multiple people inside of that vehicle, but at least one person is dropped off. This is the CCTV here. I cannot believe it is the anniversary. I think it's like tomorrow of it. I would do anything for answers in this particular case. I've been following it since the day it happened, and I never thought we'd get to the 2-year anniversary and still be sitting here going, what happened on that night where 3 people had to die in their home? You know, the thing that's always got me though is how did the killer know to enter through the back of the property and that the back door would be unlocked? How on earth did they know that? Because the back door and the back of the property has a very high fence. How would they, because if you jumped in there, what if there was a dog? Like you could be trapped in the backyard with a dog in there. How would you know it's okay to jump the back of that fence? How would you know that the back door was going to be unlocked? It tells me that maybe it's someone who either has been there before or had knowledge of how the house worked, because it's a bit of a bet. Like if you're going to commit a murder, your chances of getting caught skyrocket if you end up jumping that fence and there's a dog and they start barking and the owners come out and like the neighbors go, what's going on, and go to look. It always made me wonder whether it was someone who had intimate knowledge of that home. And that's what I would like to know. So this is I'm playing for you now the CCTV of it. These are from different cameras around the neighborhood. And you see that black car, dark colored sedan, roaming the neighborhood backwards and forwards, waiting on their buddy to get out of that house and for them to pick them up. So it was at a minimum coordinated and definitely seems premeditated. And there you go, that black car, dark colored car, just traversing the neighborhood over and over again. This happened really early in the morning, um, around 6 a.m. in the morning. So it's most people would be asleep at the time. And there you go, out the front of their house. This is in front of their home. There's a vehicle again. There must be someone who knows that car and knows who would know the son, the mom, someone. Yeah, I agree. Someone who knew them. I mean, who else would want to jump into their home? There you go. Now he leaves the property after killing them and setting fire to the home. Runs across that like a tennis court, a rec area. Then he gets to the corner and his buddy picks him up. You'll see him. He'll walk down the road and then he'll cross it and jump in a car. There you go. Now he's running. And his buddy coordinated, see? His buddy like got there just as he was getting to that corner. Almost like they had a plan or they were talking throughout it. Cuz that's pretty good timing. That here. Stop. There's a car there. This car, if they could track down who owned it, they might be the only people who may have seen who was driving that car and who walked across the road in front of them and entered that vehicle. This might be the only witness to the actual getaway. So I don't know if they are. You guys can't see it. There you go. There's a car up in that top corner. That guy crosses in front of this car that's going in the opposite direction. They might have got a good look at who those people were, whether the driver or the gunman that they picked up. And so far as I know, they have never found who was driving that vehicle. Maybe they were involved too. Who knows? Maybe they were a lookout. So that car goes right past them, and just as that car leaves, they turn on the headlights and get out of there. And then you see them in the corner briefly. And then they take off. There you go. And then they're off down the highway. Down that street, there's a giant connector highway. Big highway, take you anywhere in Texas. So if they made it to that highway, they could get anywhere. I'm surprised there's not more like traffic cameras or something, but it's very frustrating. No one heard anything. Possibly. Could be a mistaken identity, but maybe unlikely as they went on to target all three people. Definitely think that there's a possibility that there's some prior history, because I just don't get how you get into that home and why you take the risk. If you're going there to murder people, why would you take the risk of jumping that fence? Like, all number of things could go wrong. And to this day, there is still no That's weird. Okay. To this day, no update. I've tried to reach out to the families several times. I tracked down the mum of Cameron and I tried to talk to her, and she basically ignored me, which that's her right. I'm not blaming her for that. That's just her right. If she doesn't want to talk to media, that's fine. But I've been keeping her daughter's case alive as best as I can for 2 years, and I really wish she'd come talk to me, um, because I think I can help. And, all I want is for them to find out who did it, because I suspect these people are quite young. I don't think they're very old. I think they're most likely probably the same age as the son. I would think so. Here's the FBI seeking information. And if we go, there's one, what they're calling unknown suspect in the vehicle. There's another version of it. Whether these are two different people, don't know. There's the vehicle, but the windows are very tinted. Even when they go past a light, you can't see into the vehicle. I've tried. I've sat there for hours watching the car, hoping to see how many people were inside the vehicle. And the tint on the vehicle is very heavy, and you can't make out very many details of what's going on inside of that car. But Gail said a car without headlights will get more attention from me. They only turned the headlights off when that other car was going in the opposite direction. They might have had a dash cam. Yeah, I thought that at the time too, but being that we're like so many 2 years after now, a lot of people wouldn't have that video anymore. Legs look shorter in the second photo. This person on the left looks a lot skinnier than the person on the far right. The person on the left looks like really thin legs. Could be a female even. Not sure if it is, but very thin legs. The person on the far right looks like a bigger build, like a bit more, yeah, stockier build. Whether they're the same people, I don't know. They don't make it known, but yeah, I would do anything for this. I just want them to find out what happened. And the fact that the FBI is involved, the local PD, which is Harris County, nothing. Hey, hey, Joe K, how are you? Good to see you. So many cameras nowadays. Houses have door cam, vehicles have dash cam, also inbuilt cameras on modern models. I was wondering whether they had any more traffic camera data, because when you go down the road from here, there's a massive highway. Here, I'll show you if I can. Cypress, Texas. Let me go to the map and I'll show you. I'll show you how they got out of there. All right, where's Cypress? Um, Give me a sec. I'm just going to try this. There it is. There it is. All right. All right. This is the home right here. This is the home right here. This is the tennis court that he jumps over the fence and runs through. And then his buddy picks him up. Here, they turn the corner and they go down here. When you go down here, this is probably the way they got away. So they probably would have gone down here and they get to the highway, US 290. And you would think this freeway, whether they continued on it or under it, that there would be a flock of cameras around here, like with the highway and the overpass. You would think, and it being a toll road, that there would be more traffic cameras. I don't know if they were ever able to find anything, but I would think that this would be your best bet. The other thing is, if they tried to cut through here or here, there's multiple different shops here that would probably have CCTV. But so far, we've not heard anything. What we heard is that they were able to track them to US 290, and then they don't know where they went after they got here. So after they got to this point, FBI says they don't know where they went after that. Gail said the police kept talking about his new car and they had tips, nothing at all. They don't believe the car has anything to do with it. They talked to the owner that he bought the car from, and they now believe he's got nothing to do with it. I've heard rumors that I don't want to deal in rumors. I don't like dealing in rumors, but I did hear that there was some sort of altercation earlier that night at an event, and I've not been able to confirm it with anyone. One of the reasons I'd like to speak to the family, but I heard there was an event earlier that night that the son and girlfriend were at that event, or not sure if the girlfriend was there, but the son definitely was there, and that there was some sort of altercation, and whether that this is involved with what happened earlier in the night, I don't know, but it's interesting. Interesting that after that, several hours later, someone breaks into your home, murders 3 people, and has petrol on them to burn down the property. It's pretty organized. Hey, Missy, how are you? Hey, Marlene. Marlene said, what were the victims' professions? 6 a.m. a weird time, people would be getting up for work. It was a weekend, I'm pretty sure. It was like a Sunday morning. Sunday, August 18. So it was very early Sunday morning. Maybe a lot of people would not be getting up for work, being that it is a weekend. Um, I'm not sure what the son did for a living. I know the mum. Let me have a look. I don't want to tell you the wrong details. So it was the mum. Mum's name is Kelly Mascarelli. She's 54. It was her son, Colin Foster, and his girlfriend, Cameron Richard, or Richard. And they're saying here the suspect is described as a male or boy with a tall to medium muscular build who was wearing a hooded sweatshirt during the crime. And the vehicle they consider a black or dark blue four-door sedan operated by a getaway driver. They said the car featured distinct chrome rims, a chrome front grille, a chrome front emblem, reflectors on the rear bumper, and a third brake light positioned at the bottom of the rear window. So they're saying here the CCTV captures a dark colored getaway car driving through the neighborhood for approximately 30 minutes before dropping off the shooter. The shooter returns to the car just 11 minutes later after committing the homicide and burning down the house. So, here, what? Yeah, I'm just trying to see what they did for a living because I can't remember. It's been a while. So Colin Foster had completed a training as an auto mechanic and was working in automotive repair. Kelly was described by loved ones as a passionate fitness enthusiast and animal lover, and that she worked as a beautician. Cameron Richards, or Rashad, she aspired to become a hairdresser and shared a passion for the beauty industry. That is the only sort of like details we got about like what they did for a living. They had to know the layout of the house to be that fast. You jump the fence, you enter through the back door, you somehow are able to shoot 3 people dead without any of them raising the alarm. and you're able to then set the house on fire, get out of there, and meet your buddy back at the corner and jump into the car in 11 minutes. That is very quick to commit a triple homicide and burn down the home. Hey, Astro, how are you? You're late? You're late? You're having a baby? Really? Congratulations, Astro. Uh, sorry. All right. Let's have a look. Let me take you back to the other video so you guys can listen to the rest of it.
165 days later, the suspects have never been identified. The motive is still a mystery.
I want them to get who it is, but I just don't think they're going to get it solved. I don't have any faith.
Detectives told Cameron's parents their timid and tiny daughter, who battled heart conditions, was not the intended target.
I see you have a butterfly on your hat. Butterflies are a special symbol for Cameron.
For me, yeah, for me and her, she loved them. But after she got out of the hospital, I went and got a butterfly tattooed on my back because butterflies represent something beautiful can come out of something, the transition, coming out of something hard. And she always loved that story.
How do you want Cameron to be remembered?
For just being a fighter, for dealing with health issues her whole life and being resilient and still smiling and happy and finding happiness in everything. I'm never going to stop fighting for her.
Cameron's mother says her faith is the only thing keeping her going. I have reached out to the Harris County Sheriff's Office, and they tell me there is not a significant update right now, but this is an ongoing investigation. They're also working with FBI Houston. Again, there is that $25,000 reward.
They announced that $25,000 award almost 18 months ago, and still nothing. Nothing has come forward. We've heard nothing. No one has been brought in. No one has been charged. They haven't. I don't even know what to tell you. Here, I want to take you back. They did a press conference back for the half-year anniversary or something. Hold on. Homicide. When they did the press conference, they really, um, I think they really thought that this was going to be. I remember when I got the notification that the press conference was going to happen, and I thought, oh, this is it. They've got them. They know who it is. They're going to give us this big update. And they really didn't. They really gave us just the CCTV. That's it.
Hello, and thank you very much for being here today. I'd like to thank all our media partners for coming out for this press conference in search of justice. Today we will be hearing remarks from Sheriff Ed Gonzalez in both English and Spanish.
3 lives brutally stolen on August 18th, 2024. This was not just a fire, it was a calculated act of murder and arson. This cowardly crime has created an unfillable void in the lives of those who love Kelly, Colin, and Cameron.
I don't want to make you sit through what he has to say. I want you to listen to what the FBI has to say. So we'll skip this bit and I'll take you to the FBI because they had more details. He just keeps going on about how it's a bad crime and we have thoughts of the family and stuff like that. The FBI woman has more information than he does. Here, where is it?
Wendy Posadas for more information about the case.
On Sunday, August 18, 2024, homicide investigators were called out to the residence that was located at 14602 Plains River Drive in Cypress, Texas. Upon our arrival, we were informed 3 victims were located on the second floor of the residence inside of their bedrooms with defects that were consistent with gunshot wounds. During the investigation, the medical examiner's office conducted autopsies on the victims and was able to determine that all 3 victims were shot multiple times and were deceased prior to the fire starting. My team and I, we canvassed for surveillance video in the neighborhood, and we were able to retrieve video that captured the suspect vehicle as well as the suspect. The suspect vehicle was first seen at approximately 5:30 in the morning in the neighborhood, driving around for approximately 30 minutes. The vehicle stopped at the intersection of Watermill Drive and Palos Park Drive, where a suspect exited the vehicle. At this time, we learned that there was more than one suspect involved in this case. One suspect walked southbound on Palos Park Drive as the other suspect drove the suspect vehicle around the neighborhood. The suspect walked south on Palos Park Drive towards the community center, jumped the fence at the community park, and walked down the fence line towards the back of the residence. At approximately 6:05, the suspect entered the residence through the back gate and entered through the back door of the residence. There was no forced entry observed at the back door of the residence. The suspect walked up to the second floor, shot and killed all 3 victims, and intentionally set the house on fire to cover up the crime and the evidence. The suspect walked out of the residence at approximately 6:11 in the morning, walked through the community park, walked to the intersection of Cypresswood Drive and Palos Park Drive where the suspect vehicle awaited. At approximately 6:14, the suspect enters the suspect vehicle and starts driving. The suspect vehicle starts driving eastbound on Cypresswood Drive. At approximately 6:15 in the morning, the vehicle was last seen traveling southbound on Cypress Rose Hill Road towards 290.
Yeah, so they go on to say that when they reach 290, that's the last time they can ever track them. And why that is, or why they never got another pulse on where that car went, I'm not sure, but that's basically how far they tracked them. And for us to be at 2 years now and not even a suspect, not even a name of who might have wanted to do this is very frustrating. I've literally followed it from the day it happened, and I cannot believe we're 2 years past it now. I never thought we'd get to this point. I thought it would be solved, years ago. And 2 year anniversary, far out. And yeah, so 3 people killed in their home, 18th of August, 2024, and we're now 2 years later, and we still don't know anything that we didn't know around then. So, in the last year and a half, there's been really no new information, and the FBI has not done any other press conferences on the crime. Whether they're planning to do one for the 2 year anniversary, I don't know. I hope so, because the public would like more information about what has been done in the last 2 years. Have they found anyone? Have they been able to track down the car? Have they arrested anyone but, can't prove it? Is there anything to say that there is any positivity here? They believe the back door was unlocked. They found BK with less information. Yeah, it's shocking that it's not solved. It really is. So yeah, 2 years. It is the anniversary, and let's see if either what is it called? The local Harris County, if Harris County PD do a press conference, or the FBI do another press conference for the 2 year anniversary. We've not heard from them since the crime happened in August of 2024. We then heard from them in January of 2025. Since January of 2025, we've heard nothing. There's been no new updates at all. Yeah, so I know it seems like a lot of information with all the cameras and the car and how many people, and they even have footage of the guy walking to the home to commit the crime. I can't tell you. I don't know what to tell you except for God, I hope it's solved. I really would like to see some answers, something. Um, like I said, I have reached out to Cameron's mother several times, and she has never replied to me. And I get it. She lost her daughter. I'm not saying she has any obligation to speak to me. I just would really like to have a talk with her, even if we don't have it on the channel or something like that. I just would love to try and talk about what's going on, but you know, maybe it's too painful for them. Um, let me just check if anyone's done an update. The last update was a year ago. Last update I can see was for the anniversary last year. Enjoying my life. Just trying to see if there's anything here. Yeah, no update really, guys. Let's have a look. Yeah, the video that I showed you is basically the latest update. So today is the anniversary Elvis Presley faked his death. Where is he today then with Bob Marley and Tupac smoking it up on an island somewhere in the Caribbean? Possibly. All right. I think that's it for tonight. We've had so many stories tonight. It's been ridiculous. We've had 9,000 stories, a bit of a variety show tonight. Normally, we don't do those type of shows. We normally have topics that we want to cover, but it was a bit of a strange Saturday night for it. Hopefully, I can come back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Monday here, which means the courts are open. I'll probably have new information on a few different cases that we're following. And wait, what happened? There was another mass shooting. Oh my God. They're saying here that there was a third mass shooting today. There was one in Chicago as well. I just got the update. Yeah. What is going on? Okay. Yeah, no, yeah, Chicago. Where is it? Sangamon and 85th in Chicago. 4 hurt in Southside shooting tonight at 7:15 p.m. So we did get another one. That is not the geez, what is going on this week? There was one here I'll show you before we go.
4 people were shot tonight in Chicago's Auburn Gresham neighborhood. Now, this is a look at investigators on the scene of the shooting near 85th and Sangamon streets. We are told that 2 men are hospitalized in critical condition. Another man and a woman were shot but not seriously hurt. Police say the unknown shooters pulled up in a car and started firing at the victims who were on the sidewalk. 4
So there you go. Just before we go, there was another one. I can't tell you what's going on in America. I blame it on the heat or people being sick of the hot weather. Who knows? Maybe it's just because there's so many people out and about for the end of the summer. But like I said, I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, we're going to have some more of the cases that we've been following, including I'll tell you tomorrow about what's been going on in Indiana. There's been a ton of flooding in Indiana as well, but I'll tell you what's going on over there tomorrow for Sunday night. Have a great rest of your Saturday. I hope you got a ton of updates for cases that you didn't even know existed tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll catch up on some of our like Monday to Friday cases then, and I'll see you then. Good night, everyone. Bye.